Hey, how can I have such a solid car that's still so rusty? And did I break my own windshield tearing it down? Hey, thanks for watching. We're back on the Camaro. I've got a cool game plan and I want to bring you with me on it. And we're going to address the broken windshield in a little bit, but right now I want to focus on what we found when we cut the top off. If you watched the last episode, then you know that I sliced the top off because it was a vinyl top car. And there was fist-sized holes in the sheet metal, and it kind of actually made me really nervous, wondering if all of this inner structure was rotted down. What I found is that it is not. In fact, the only rust is just a little bit of surface rust right here, and that's just from condensation and the factory coatings being really thin. All of this material up in here, there's still factory primer here. The metal integrity is excellent. So I'm going to do a quick wire wheel, strip off the gumdrops, and get the rust treated so that I don't have to worry about it when I do actually get to the bodywork phase and put a roof skin on it. Lost my thought. All right, so let's get started. What we're going to do, if you look at this right here, you've got these pieces here. That's an insulation that they put in from the factory that it keeps the top from fluttering. And we're going to replace that at some point, but I got to get rid of that, and we're going to get the surface rust off. I'm going to try using this finger wheel. It's a nylon wheel that is really good for mild surface rust. We're going to wheel that off, and then I'll put a metal treatment on it, and we'll go from there. But I want to protect that. I don't just want to throw another skin on there without addressing that. So, all right, so I call these gumdrops, but they're hardened beyond bubble gum right now that's 50 years old. I've got a razor blade here, and I did one, but here's the cool thing. They come right off there, and there's perfect metal. The other thing is that this is just mild surface rust. Look at this. I mean, this is going to require nothing. This is a gift from the rust gods right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these off. Gumdrops be gone. So now, since I don't want to snort any of this rust, it is no longer the 80s. I am going to put some PPE on, and we're going to go to work. All right, so I've got all the surface rust scaled off of it. It's in really good shape. There's no real even texture there. So now I'm going to use a metal treatment. There's a bunch of different metal treatments out there. The one that I like to use is called Pickle X20. I'll put a link in the description. And the reason that I like it is because it's fast. It's a mild acid like a lot of them are, and it's a phosphatizing coating, which puts a barrier between oxygen and the metal. It kind of stops the rust and etches out anything that might be left over in these tiny little pits. If you look really close here, you can see good metal and then the little dark spots. That could be micro rust in those pockets. I don't want to take any chances. This is going to be covered up for 40 forevers with another roof skin, so let's do our diligence and stop the rust before we put a coating on. And then I'll put some sort of a coating on top of it and encapsulate it. So the way I like to use this stuff is to mist it on wherever I'm going to to work wherever I see this rust, and I know the headliner underneath is going to get eaten, the headliner is going to get replaced also. So I've got a red scuffing pad. I'm just going to work that stuff in. You can see it working right away. It's pulling the rust out. The fibers of the scuffing pad are working the acid down into the pits of the rust. Incidentally, if you're doing this to bare metal, you can use a phosphatizer like this and just do the etch process, and it'll stop flash rusting. If it's inside, it'll stop it indefinitely. But even when it's exposed to a little bit of moisture, it stops it for weeks. So if you're doing metal work or body work in a whole car, this process does a nice job of cleaning the rust out, cleans your metal up, and it saves it from flash rusting until you're ready to do your coatings on top of it, which is really kind of a nice option to have when you can't do a vehicle start to finish, and who can? All right, I think that is about the extent of where I saw the rust. So I'm going to wipe off the excess Pickle X. And look at how that metal looks now. It looks good. I'm wearing gloves because this is an acid and you don't want to, you'll feel it if you're not wearing gloves, put it that way. So now I'm going to get a solvent. I've got some lacquer thinner. I'm going to wipe it down with lacquer thinner, and then we're ready for the next step. This is just cleanup thinner, lacquer thinner, whatever you want to call it, body shop thinner. But it's pulling the excess chemical off the top so it won't interfere with the coatings that I put on next, which is going to be an epoxy coating. And I'm blown away that that's how that inner structure looks based off of what the actual roof skin looked like from the outside. Amazing. All right, we'll let that dry. And by the way, GM designers, whose idea was it to have these doors so heavy? So heavy. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. Anybody out there, do you know how much these doors weigh fully loaded? It's ridiculous. I'm going to bet it's like 80 pounds. It's stupid, man. They're so heavy. Okay, so I've had this stuff sitting on a shelf for a while. It's U-POL Raptor epoxy, mixes in a 4-to-1 ratio, and that's what I'm going to use to cover up the bare metal on my roof. So there's a couple of different ways to skin this cat. We're going to go, I found my mix ratio on the side. There's up to the first 4. I don't need much because I'm not spraying it on. I'm actually going to brush it on. And I can get away with brushing it on because it's not a high build product, and I'm only doing 1 coat. The purpose of this product is to cover metal and to provide adhesion for stuff that goes on top of it. In that case, the Raptor coating. And we don't need to address that. There's up to the 1. Bam, that gets me my 4-to-1 mix ratio. And we're going to stir it. And also having to brush it on, it's never, the scientific term is aerosolized. It's never put into a mist. So thereby, it's not going to be a breathable hazard. It's not a polyisocyanate catalyst, so I don't have to worry about that exposure. So for me, a good pair of gloves, some safety glasses, and I think we're in good shape. And we can do this. You know, since if it was a fender, the outside of the car, yeah, I'd spray it on just to get it nice and even. But since this stuff will never, ever, ever be seen again, it's purely to stop anything from attacking that metal again, we're fine with the brush. Camera person said a funny, that's what I'm giggling about. Now I've scuffed past where the metal is bare, so I know I'm going to get good adhesion with this stuff. I'm just going to put enough on to where it kind of flows out. Heck, back before Henry Ford decided to use pneumatic spray equipment on his assembly lines in 1923, this is how they used to paint cars anyway. And if Henry Ford never brought pneumatic paint delivery into modern vehicle manufacturing, we would never have a need to use expensive fresh air setups in paint booths, and we would be really good at sanding and polishing because that would be the process. I don't know. It's kind of going down like a Planet of the Apes scenario and all these crazy hypotheticals, but I don't know. I think it was a good invention. Actually, it wasn't Henry Ford's invention, because I know that Sada Spray has been making paint guns for over 100 years, but, well, and that's kind of right around where I'm talking about 23. Yeah. No, that's 2023. I feel so old sometimes. I wanted to do this with a brush. You guys know I got spray guns. I've got all the equipment. I've invested heavily in my shop here for all the compressors and enough air to do. I could paint airplanes in here. I've got enough compressed air to do that. But I want to give you guys clues as to how to achieve this every once in a while on a limited budget or with limited tools and equipment. And this is one of those ways. If you got to seal up the metal on a firewall or an interior, heck, even if I had put floor pans in, there's nothing wrong with this way of applying a single coat product. You have to be aware that it's going to be a little bit thicker than when you spray it, but you know, sometimes you can bend the rules just a taste in order to meet your goals. And let's face it, we all want to save a little bit of money. So I'm going to guarantee you that this chip brush that I got from a dollar store didn't even cost $1. So, all right, so now we let this sit and flash, and it's ready for me when I go to trim out the rest of the roof, get the windshield out, and put my roof skin on, and that's it. Easy. Hit the easy button. So while that primer's drying off, let's talk about some stuff. So thank you guys so much for all the comments on the last video where I tore this sucker down. I read all of the comments, and a lot of them are really valuable, and some of them are kind of snarky, and I actually love that too. So those of you that reminded me that I took the header panel off 3 times, those of you that reminded me that I took the header panel off 3 times, those of you that reminded me that I took the header panel off 3 times on that video, yeah, that was in the edit. I'm editing my own videos as well, and I don't know. So, in actuality, the header only came off once. Here's the other thing. I had a guy reach out to me and he said, Kevin, check the VIN. Check the VIN on that car. If it's a Z28, 74 Z28, super rare, he said, please don't cut that car up. Look at your VIN. If the 5th digit is a T, then it's a Z28. I know it's a type LT because I found the emblems that go on the sail panels. We look at the VIN number. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a K. So that tells me it's not a Z28. It was a 4-speed car though. My gut was right because it was a nice patch on the transmission tunnel and with good pop rivets, whatever. But somebody has converted this car to an automatic transmission. And if you look down here, they left the bell crank and the lever system, Z-bar, whatever you want to call it, in place. And if you look underneath there, past the brown recluse spider nest, you can see, I don't know if you can or not, but I can see where the push rod from the pedal hole is still there, and the rubber grommet is still, it used to be a 4-speed car. So it's a Type LT, limited slip, 4-speed, air-conditioned, you know, cool car. It's still a 74. If it was a Z, we'd be talking about a whole different thing, and we'd be doing a full restoration because this would be a super rare car. But now I feel like I have the freedom to do what I want to with it stylistically. So here's the other thing. Some of you eagle eyes pointed out that I took the hood off by myself and it may or may not have hit the windshield, and I promise you this glass was broken. You can even see the safety glass is delaminated right here. This is an old brake. There's dust and dirt in that brake. I didn't break the glass, but because you guys made me paranoid and I even checked, I started looking deeper. And if you look at things like this right here, this cowl panel, the balloon assembly is technically what it's called. So look here, it's kicked up a little bit here. And that's kind of a little bit of a pucker or a fold right in there. Interesting. Oh, look at that. Look what it lines up into. Perhaps a pivot point.
Say what?
Then we go in here. Busted dash is a busted dash. Interesting, though, where it lines up. But if you look at this right here, that's a hard panel. That's the inner metal structure of the dash. That's part of the unibody. See how it's kicked up right there? Huh. Now, we put our Dick Tracy glasses on and we go a little bit farther down into here. And we can see a 1/2 inch of body filler right here. Right next to the hinge pillar is delaminated, separated from the, this is a heavy structure. This is one of the heaviest structural components of this whole unibody. And so this is caved in, man. Look at the difference here. The fender is even caved in and it's still kicking out another 1/2 inch. So we've got an inch right here. So I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. It takes a lot to damage these areas like this. So this is the outer rocker. I'm going to get an outer rocker and an inner rocker, but I'm also going to measure to see, because in here it almost looks like maybe this floor is domed over like that, and that would indicate that it's compressed and pushed up in the middle. So what does that tell me? Well, it tells me that my years of being an estimator in body shops are paying off right now, because we're taught to think our way through the damage and go through it. It's a little too late. So we talk about things that could kill a project. Structural rust could kill a project. Maybe if I have to take this to a frame machine, to a frame guy, I've got a really great guy in town, Ricky Gray at Brown's. He's my go-to guy. He's really, really good at what he does, and I'm not worried, because if I can't fix it here, I can take it to my guy, Ricky, but it may require a trip to the frame machine. And if that's the case, that might be a deal breaker. So just for you guys out there, just keep in mind, get a measuring tape, look through the damage, and if you see stuff like that caked up filler that's a 1/2 inch thick, that might be an indicator. I just wanted to point that out. But full circle back to the windshield. What broke this windshield is the impact that this car had from right here, and I think it took a door hit. Here's why I think it took a door hit. Right here, our rocker is caved in, and we travel down here to the driver's door, which is, like I said, stupid heavy, and guess what? We've got silver paint. Silver paint right here under the mirror. So this door's been replaced, because the original color of the car is right over here. It's this maroon color right here. There's our original color. It's actually right there. It's not in bad shape. So again, full circle moment. Took a hit in the door right at the hinge pillar, and it might be a write-off. I don't know. We're still working on a title for it. But those types of things are so interesting to me. I keep saying that a car will talk to us, and we're peeling back the layers, peeling back the layers, peeling back the layers, and discovering more and more about this car. Is it a deal breaker for me? Heck no. We're going forward with this. I'm going to do my 70 RS split bumper conversion, and I'm going to carry you guys with me during that process. So I've got my parts ordered. We're going to do it in chunks. I'm going to do the front end conversion first so I can feel good about that, because it's mostly bolt-on stuff. Then I've got to put quarters on. I might have to put a trunk floor in because the taillight panel is different, and you get up into this sort of a snowballing effect of stuff that needs to be replaced. But during all of that, I'll have a chance to get rid of all of the rust in the floors and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're going to take this one project at a time. We're going to finish the car, and it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to be on the other end of this doing test drives and donuts in this thing. But for now, there's a couple of other things that I've got going on that I wanted to share with you. So this is the 76 Rally Sport. This is actually what I got the car from Derek for, because it's a 76 Rally Sport. It's a cool car, but boy, it's far gone. It needs a bunch of work. It needs quarters, inners, outers, rails, floors. The roof skin is good, but I think I'm going to about face and focus 100% on that, and we might try and part this one out. But the 280ZX is something, if you watch that video to where I went and did the walk around, what would it take to restore it if you have DIY skills or you want to just farm it out? I went down memory lane and I got hooked, man. This one hit me right in the feels because I used to have a 79 280ZX coupe, no T-top car, and I just decided that I want to go down that road again. I want to take the journey again. So this thing is here, back at the Hizzle, and I'm finding out more and more that there is absolutely no aftermarket support for this car. I don't know what I want to do with an engine, but I want certainly more power than the original inline six. They were okay, they were fine, about 135 horse. My other one was fine enough, but anyway, so this one we're going to need some more juice in it, but we'll get down there later. We've got to get structural components and stuff like that. Here's one of the cool things that I've found. A bunch of people love these cars as much as I do, and a couple of guys reached out and they said they've got an access to some rust-free parts, so thank you guys. I'm going to be hitting you up, and we're going to try and figure out a way to get this thing back into a position to where the structure is good and we can start worrying about everything else. It's worse than what I thought when I did the walk around. The frame rails are worse than what I thought, so we'll peel this one apart. I'll show you exactly what it is, and I'll formulate a game plan. I didn't find this. I got this on actually Facebook Marketplace. I reached out to a guy that it was parting one out, and I got the right glass, and he sent me one. It's really solid. He even sent me the mounting hardware. Appreciate that very much. Right now, I've got the hole covered up in case it rains. I don't even know why. There's so much rust in this spare tire well, but this just makes me feel better. So the ZX is coming. I'm going to do a full-on job of this, and I'm stoked about it. I'm excited about it, and it's just one of the ones that we've got in the works. Let's go take a look at something else. This is my 66 C10 long bed. This truck has been in my family since almost the time that it was brand new, and there's a lot of history with this. There's a lot of great memories attached to this, and this thing has been the mule for a lot of different videos. There's a bunch of different videos online with this particular truck in it. It came from the factory with a 283, 3 on the tree, standard shift, and it was a work truck for most of its life, but it was kept inside, so it's in remarkably great condition. 283 took a poop a long time ago, and we put a Target Master 350 in it, 700 R4 transmission, and yes, it looks neglected. This looks like something Derek would try and pull out of a tree row, but we've got a carburetor back on it. I want to get this thing to the point to where it's something I can take to a car show again. I've let it deteriorate. It's on my mind. I want to get this truck up and running. I know there's a bunch of C10 folks out there as well. I love this truck. I'm emotionally attached to this truck, and it's a cool truck. It's a red and white two-tone, so we're going to do things like maybe put an AC system in it. I'll get a vintage air system or something like that. We'll body work it, put a nice paint job on it. But this is on the list. So, yeah, we've got more than one project here. You C10 guys will recognize this as a 69 or 70 C10 grill. This actually came out of Project C10, which was a 71 truck that had the wrong grill. And I skinned it over as a 67, and it was a cool custom truck, and this has been sitting in there. I honestly was going to throw this away at one point, but I thought to myself, what if we could restore this? So I was looking on the AMD catalog, and they've got lenses with the right parabolic, headlight doors, the plastic grills in here, and they've even got grill shells, but I don't know, man. I like having original parts on vehicles. When I don't have that option, then I reach for an aftermarket supplier like AMD, but for this, I think it'd be a cool project to fix it up. So here's the plan with this. We've got dents. I'm going to show you how to fix dents. It's single wall aluminum. It's a stamped pressed piece of aluminum. But the anodized coating is garbage on it. It's completely messed up. And when you pick and file these dents and you straighten them out again, the anodized coating, it kind of rings out around it and it looks weird. All of these pieces I've got sitting in a box. This is going to be a big project. So I did some experimentation here. We can strip the anodized coating off. So the plan is to do a full restoration of this grill and a refurbishment of it, where I'm going to walk you through the process of stripping the coating off, pick and file techniques, fixing these dents, polishing it back. There's an interesting thing that happens to aluminum. The more you polish it, the less it needs polishing. So we're going to go through that process with this grill, and I think it's going to be a neat before and after and a good how-to video. So this is coming down the pike too. Another thing that I'm super stoked about is Project Rocket Miata, the V8 converted via the V8 Roadsters system. It's LS powered, it's got an LSA supercharger on it, it makes about 520 horsepower, and it is the funnest car I've ever driven, and it's one of the best cars I think I've ever built. It's just an amazing little car. We had a little bit of trouble shaking it down, but now it's ready to drive, and guess what it is? Oh, wait, it's car show season, it's autocross season, and we're gonna drive this little car, and we're gonna take you with us, because there's some cones I wanna kill, and you know, let's face it, we build these things to enjoy them. This, to me, was a fun car. And we can LS swap a Miata, sure. But who does a supercharged LS swap Miata? Not very many guys. There's a few of them out there. But this one, I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. And I'm going to go and drive it. And I've got another project on the go that I'm not even going to tell you about. But all I can say is that you're going to enjoy it as much as I'm going to enjoy it, and it's unexpected, and it's going to be kind of a neat thing. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet, and I'm sorry to foreshadow and be all Mr. Mystery Guy, but we'll make an announcement real soon. You're going to find out exactly what I'm going to do, and trust me, you're going to want to watch those videos because there's going to be several. We're doing a vehicle. Here's the real deal. YouTube is not my full-time job. YouTube is amazing, it's very fun, and I want to thank everybody for subscribing and for watching these videos, and you've given me a lot of confidence into keeping going. My full-time job for the last almost 2 years has been creating technical training. My big passion is passing on these paint and body skills to people that want to learn, the people that want a career path into the automotive trades, and I've figured out a way to do my method of teaching and put it in a format that can be accessible to collision repair high school shop programs, to colleges with collision repair programs in them, to WyoTechs and the auto metal diesel colleges and all the places that have modular styled training. It's digital training with interactive capability, and it's current, modern, up-to-date collision repair curriculum. It's been a long, hard go, but I'm almost there, and I've been working really hard on this program. That is my full-time job, and all the rest of this, it's just, I love this stuff. I love cars, I love restoration, I love bringing them back, I love watching about other people doing them, but once I get my collision repair programs up and running, now I've got to go and promote that. So that's where I'm coming from here. We are going to do this one completely, but I'm not in the position to where I can do a start to finish build like we used to do on the TV shows when that was my full-time job. This is a passion for me, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying watching these videos. And I want to encourage you to tell other people about this channel, to keep coming back, because we're always going to have good video for you. But what I can't give you right now is a start to finish Camaro build. And I can't give you a start to finish 66 C10 Paw build. And I could do the grill, but I've just got to, I have to manage my time, and I hope you guys understand that. So again, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel, for being a part of Paintucation by Kevin Tetz and all the comments. I love it, man. I love the suggestions. I love the snarkiness. I love the guys that wanted to challenge me on some certain things. Bring it, man. Let's have a discussion. Let's keep this stuff alive. Let's save some cars. Let's make them look better, and let's do it together. And in the meantime, check out the Paintucation website. We've got all kinds of training videos that you can benefit from if you want to brush up on your skills. So thanks for watching this video. We've got some great stuff coming. Like, subscribe, do all the things, ring the bells, and thanks for going along with this journey with me. I'll see you soon.